fabled heat, where magic meets desire. Subscribe to ignite the fantasy.
The scent of linseed oil and something akin to sunshine clung to Alara, a fragrance that had become as essential to my days as the taste of wine or the weight of the crown. I shifted on the uncomfortable velvet cushion, the throne room feeling less like a seat of power and more like a gilded cage these days. "Your Highness," she murmured, her voice a low, melodic hum that never failed to send a shiver down my spine. "If you could just angle your head slightly more to the left." I obeyed, the stiffness in my neck a familiar ache. It had been 6 months since Alara had first arrived in the castle, summoned from her quiet village on the coast to capture my likeness for posterity. 6 months of stolen glances, hushed conversations, and the slow, agonizing realization that my heart, long encased in duty and responsibility, was now entirely at her mercy. Alara was different. Unlike the simpering ladies of the court, desperate to catch my eye and secure a title, she seemed utterly indifferent to my station. Her focus was solely on her art, her brow furrowed in concentration as she mixed pigments and wielded her brush with a focused intensity that both intimidated and fascinated me. The first portrait had been commissioned out of necessity, a diplomatic gift for a neighboring kingdom. I'd expected a stiff, formal depiction, something to convey power and authority. What Alara delivered was human. She decaptured not just my physical features, but the weariness in my eyes, the subtle curve of my lips when I thought no one was watching. It was a portrait of a man, not a king, and I had to have another, and another. Each painting became an excuse to spend hours in her presence, to bask in the warmth of her gaze, to invent reasons to prolong our sessions. I feigned interest in the minutiae of her craft, asked about her family, her dreams, anything to keep her talking. The court was beginning to whisper. My advisors frowned, concerned about the cost of these endless commissions, the time I was diverting from matters of state. They saw a simple artist, an indulgence. They didn't see the fire in her eyes, the quiet strength that belied her delicate frame, the way she saw *me*. "Almost there," Alara said, her voice pulling me back to the present. Stepped closer, her fingers brushing lightly against my jaw as she adjusted my position. A jolt of electricity shot through me, a forbidden pleasure that I savored. "Alara," I began, my voice rough with unspoken desire. She stepped back, her eyes meeting mine. There was a sadness there, a knowing that mirrored my own. "Your Majesty," she said softly, "I fear this next portrait, it will require something more." I frowned. "More? What more could you possibly need? Name your price. Jewels, land, titles." "Anything I could offer, I would." She shook her head, her gaze unwavering. "This portrait," she said, her voice barely a whisper, "requires truth, and truth, Your Majesty, often comes at a cost." Days blurred into weeks as Alara continued to work. The painting was unlike anything she'd done before. It wasn't just a portrait, it was a window into my soul. She captured the doubt that plagued me, the weight of responsibility that crushed me, the yearning for something more than power and duty. As the painting neared completion, the air in the throne room grew thick with tension. My advisors grew bolder in their disapproval, questioning Alara's influence, suggesting that she was somehow bewitching me. Even my most trusted confidant warned me that I was playing a dangerous game. "She's an artist, not a sorceress," I snapped, defending Alara even as a seed of doubt began to sprout in my own mind. The day the painting was finished, Alara summoned me to the throne room. The canvas was draped with a cloth, concealing her final masterpiece. The air crackled with anticipation. "Your Majesty," she said, her voice trembling slightly, "this portrait, it is finished, but before I unveil it, there is something you must understand." She stepped closer, her eyes filled with a mixture of fear and determination. "This painting, it reveals the truth, my truth and your truth, and the truth is that I am not who you think I am." She reached out and slowly pulled away the cloth. The portrait was breathtaking. It was a true reflection of my soul, every hidden fear and desire laid bare. But there was something else, something wrong. My eyes were drawn to a small detail in the background, a symbol woven into the tapestry behind me. A symbol I recognized, the symbol of the Shadow Court. My heart hammered in my chest. The Shadow Court was a legendary cabal of assassins and spies, rumored to be plotting to overthrow the kingdom. They were my sworn enemies, and Alara. "She was one of them." "You," I choked out, my voice filled with betrayal. "You're a spy." She nodded, tears welling up in her eyes. "I was sent here to infiltrate the court, to gather information, to weaken your reign." "But the painting," I said, gesturing to the canvas. "Why reveal so much? Why show me my true self?" "Because," she whispered, "I fell in love with you." The revelation hit me like a physical blow. I had been so blinded by my own desire, so desperate for connection, that I had failed to see the truth staring me in the face. "But," she continued, her voice gaining strength, "I can't deny who I am. My loyalty to the Shadow Court is unwavering. This painting, it's a message to them, a signal that the time is right, the kingdom is vulnerable, they're coming." She reached into her sleeve and pulled out a dagger. I barely had time to react before she lunged at me. "I'm sorry," she whispered as the blade pierced my skin, "but this is the price of portraiture." I staggered back, clutching my chest, the pain searing. I looked at Alara, her face a mask of anguish and determination. "Why?" I gasped. "Because," she said, her voice choked with tears, "I love you, but I love my people more." With that, she turned and fled, disappearing into the labyrinthine corridors of the castle, leaving me bleeding and betrayed, the fate of my kingdom hanging in the balance. The portrait, a testament to our love and deceit, stood as a silent witness to the approaching storm.